What's going on, YouTube world? This is Ricondo, a real Falcons fan, and I'm gonna start out the video today saying that I want to give a shout out to all the YouTube um, providers for Atlanta Falcons content. Um, I just want to say you guys inspire me to actually get on here today and talk about the Atlanta Falcons and give my opinion on what I think about Atlanta Falcons. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Atlanta Falcons Nation, Pound for Pound, Spitty Sports Machine, the Falcoholic, Locked On Nation. All you guys actually, like I said, inspired me to actually get on here and talk about the Atlanta Falcons. If you look in the title, it says Ricondo, a real Falcon fan. And yes, I am a true Falcons fan. I'm talking about the days where the San Francisco 49ers was part of, our division. And that's one of the times where if we beat the San Francisco 49ers twice, we had a good season because 49ers at the time was one of the best teams and in the league. So we had to play the 49ers twice. Of course, we had to play the Saints, who at the time they was called the Aints. And when their fans used to put bags on their heads, people don't remember that. But yeah, the Saints used to be a real bad team, and we used to whoop up on them all the time. So, of course, you talk about the days when we had Jeff George here with June Jones. We ran the run and shoot offense. To when Jerry Glanville was here, and we had Deion Sanders prime time, and they had the MC Hammer on the sidelines. It was a show here in Atlanta where we actually had the Atlanta Falcons was putting on the show. We wasn't winning games, but it was a nice place to be because prime time made it hype to be, made it nice to be a Falcon fans. Then when Dan Reeves came in, we was able to do that Super Bowl run 1998, which I think we should have won. But of course, in real Falcon fashions, what happened? Went down there, partied too hard, and Broncos got them a Super Bowl. On behalf of the Atlanta Falcons. Then in 2000, Mike Vick came, and it was a great run. He was electrifying. He stole the show. And I think they brought in a lot of more Falcon fans during that time when Mike Vick got here. And then we had 2 dark years, between Michael Vick and Matty Ice, where we try to forget about those years because it wasn't that successful. We actually had a coach leave in the middle of the night, and so we won't even talk about that. So we're just gonna move on to 2008, where Matty Ice came in, who's been a model of consistency, who's played with some great players. Of course, we're not going to talk about one of the greatest players of all time, Mr. Julio Jones. Played with Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez. Played one of the best receivers in Falcon history, Roddy White. Of course, Michael Turner. So I think this period for the Falcons in the Falcons history probably been some of the best Falcon football, and of course it been some of the worst heartache that we had as well. So with saying all that, the reason I'm here today is to talk about the state of the Atlanta Falcons before training camp and my thoughts on the new regime coming in and how I think they do it during the off season, and what I think the process moving into training camp, because as of right now, that's all we really can talk about. Our speculations of the moves they made so far and how we think is what's going to happen, because until the roster is set, we really don't know what the team is going to look like. So I think bringing in Terry Fontenot, the first black GM in Atlanta Falcons history, I think that was a great move. You know, of course, he came from the New Orleans Saints. Um, the Saints, like I said, the Saints used to be bad, but over the last few years, they actually been a very consistent team in how they was ran, through their GM. And Terry Fontenot got his tutelage up under that GM. So bringing that mindset into the Atlanta Falcons, I think is really going to help our franchise moving forward. Then we was able to get one of the hottest coaches that was on the higher market, and every team that needed a coach wanted to interview Arthur Smith, and he actually was one of the top targets for a lot of teams. But he decided to choose the Atlanta Falcons, and I believe he decided to choose the Atlanta Falcons because he looked at what we had and felt like that might be the best fit for him moving forward. So, and of course, he established a good coaching staff. Starting with the defensive coordinator, Dean Pease, bring him out of retirement to come in and run his defense, which I think was very smart hire because he can focus on offense because he's going to be calling plays. And, being the head coach and calling plays is a big change as being an offensive coordinator. So I think it was a great hire to bring in Dean Pease so Dean Pease could get the defense, moving in the right direction. Because we don't want to talk about how bad our defense been over these years. And if you think about it, all the coaches that has been brought in been a defensive minded coach, but our defense has been the weak link on our team for the longest. So I think it's a good idea to actually bring in an offensive minded coach and have him hire a defensive coordinator, and just maybe we might be able to turn things around with our defense. So let's talk about some of the offseason moves that was made by the front office, Terry Fontenot. Like I said, he came in. It was what they consider salary cap hell, and then the pandemic. So the cap went down. So that definitely didn't help the situation. So he was forced to actually go in and do some bargain basement deal with players. He actually brought in a lot of players, and I think that was very impressive because what it did was fill some holes in the depth, for our team. And so, like, he brought in Deron Harmon, brought in Eric Harris, brought in Fabian Moreau, he brought in Mike Davis, he brought in Cordell Patterson, he brought in Brandon Copeland, brought in Arcabius Domingo, who's no longer with the team. But like I said, he brought in some very veteran players to help us set, level set. So when he started going to the draft, he didn't have to start reaching for needs. Of course, we wasn't able to fill all the holes that we had on the team, but I think the free agency that he did bring in, with what he had to work with the salary cap, was very impressive. All right, so moving to the draft, I'm going to go and say that I was not for bringing in a quarterback. Now, if they had brought in a quarterback, I'm a Falcon fan. Hey, I'm going to ride and die with them. So they would have brought in a quarterback, even though I thought it would have been the wrong decision to bring in a quarterback, because I felt like we had a franchise quarterback already on the team who was still playing at a high level. So I just didn't feel like the quarterback was the issue with the team. So I thought drafting a quarterback at 4 was not a good decision. But if they would have drafted a quarterback, hey, I would have. Let's go. Let's see how this thing's going to work with You got a rookie quarterback sitting behind Matt Ryan for a year or so, just and he was already in salary cap hell. So I think it was the right choice of signing Pitts, which many people had Kyle Pitts the best player in the draft. Um, yes, he's not going to replace Julio Jones, but I do think that he's going to be a mismatch nightmare for a lot of teams. Definitely the way I think Arthur Smith is going to utilize him, with 12 personnels. I also think he's going to run some 13 personnel as well and bring in another tight end. And you can actually pick your poison, because if you bring in 3 tight ends, it look like they're going to be running the ball. But however, with Kyle Pitts, flexibility, you can split Kyle Pitts out and actually still throw the ball. So I think with the creativity that Arthur Smith is going to bring to this offense, is going to be do wonders for our team. The rest of the draft picks, of course, they picked Richie Grant, Jalen Mayfield, Drew Dahlman, Darren Hall, Avery Williams, and then Frank Darby. They picked Twaquan Graham, and they picked Okendeji. So I think personally, with all those picks, I give them a B+, A-. I think they did a great job. Maybe they should have probably drafted a running back, but I think they might have found a diamond in the rough, an undrafted free agent with Javion Hawkins. So maybe not drafting a running back won't come back to bite them. We do have a lot of running backs on the team already. And for an example, Quadri Olison. And what I don't understand is that how you draft a player and you never put him in the game to see what he got. So it seems like we drafted this guy and we think he can play, but then we're never going to play him. It's sort of like the same thing they did with Deacon Sonat. So we don't know what we have in Quadri Olison. So if you didn't think he was good, why you draft him? He never played. So we don't know how good Quadri Olison is. That's why people thinking we don't have depth at running back. But maybe we got the guy on the team right now that can actually be productive, and we just need to give him a chance. I think that's what Arthur Smith's going to do. He's going to have a competition, and Quadri Olison, maybe for the first time since he's been on the team, is going to actually get a fair shot to actually show what he actually can do in the league. Same thing with Deidre Sonat. I mean, Deidre Sonat's been on the team, and I think he probably had more inactive, than active since he's been on the team. And I mean, you draft a player and then you never put him in the game. You never even have him on the active roster. So, stuff like that from the last regime is just baffling to me, and I really don't understand why you draft players and then you refuse to just give them a chance to put them on there. And then, like I said, if they weren't producing in practice, well, cut them. It don't make any sense to have players on your team that you drafted and you won't put them in the games, but then you let them stay on the team for 2 or 3 years and they never play them. So it just don't make sense. So I just went on a tangent about the last regime. Sorry about that, but I just had to put that out. So like I said, that I think the offseason moves that from bringing in the GM to bringing in the head coach to the free agents that they signed to being able to do the trade of one of the best players in Atlanta Falcons history, and being able to get a second round pick and a 4th round pick and having them take the salary. I think that was the best they were going to be able to do. Julio didn't want to be here, so, and I think and we was able to take that money and sign our rookie class. So, and then bringing in the draft class that we had, I think the moves that the franchise and the state that we're in right now before training camp is the best scenario that we can be in. Now, time will tell, and we really at this point we really don't know what this team is going to be. That's why training camp had to take place. These position battles got to start. We do have question marks at left guard. We got question mark at center. We got question mark who's going to be our second edge rusher. We got a question mark who's going to be the second cornerback. We got a question mark who's going to be, beside Grady Jarrett on the defensive line. So we do have a lot of question marks. That's why training camp is important, and it's going to be interesting to see how this 53-man roster shapes out. I think the strengths of our team, of course, is our quarterback. I think our linebacker core is definitely one of the strongest positions that we have. I think we got some of the three best linebackers in the game between Foye Olukun, Deion Jones, and Michael Walker. I think that our safety position was improved, because you think about it, before free agents in the draft, we only had one safety on the team. That was Jalen Hawkins. But as of right now, I think, and between Richie Grant, Deron Harmon, Eric Harris, Jalen Hawkins, the undrafted guy Murphy, I think we got a lot of depth at safety. So I think that's one of our strongest positions as well. And then of course they listed Isaiah Oliver at safety as well, who might actually go in and start doing that big nickel role, which Dan Quinn talked about the big nickel role a lot, when he was talking about trying to change up some things with his defense, but it never materialized. So it'd be interesting to see how that big nickel role take place. Isaiah Oliver did play better when they moved him inside instead of outside. So, but I do still think we do have question marks at cornerback. However, I think Faye Monroe is going to, I think he's probably end up winning that second corner position outside A.J. Terrell. I think our receiving core, even though Julio Jones is no longer on the team, I think it's still is a deep receiving core between Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, who actually had a great season last year, with over 70 receptions. I think Tarjay Sharp is going to be very instrumental because he was with Arthur Smith before. I think Olamide Zaccheaus is going to have a big role, and we hoping that Frank Darby lives up to to the hype that he has. He is a big body guy. He make tough contested catches. Maybe he could training camp show something to to earn a more important role in in the receiving group. Of course, we know Hayden Hurst and Kyle Pitts going to do their things. I think both of those guys are very talented. I actually think Arthur Smith got two more athletic tight ends with this team than he had with his previous team in Tennessee. So I believe he'll be able to do more. Of course, you'll be able to do more with Kyle Pitts because you can line him up anywhere on the field. And then the Swiss Army knife that we have is Cordell Patterson. They'll be able to put him all over the field as well. So we have a lot of good pieces with this team. It just need to see how they put it all together moving forward. But until training camp start and to see if they start to gel and get some kind of chemistry, because it is the first season, and history shows that usually in the first season with Matt Ryan with a new offensive coordinator, he actually struggles a little bit. Hopefully that's not the case, because some of this offense is familiar to him. I think he's been in the league long enough now to be able to grasp it and be able to hit the ground running. I also think that Matt Ryan could possibly be in the MVP hunt. That's a bold prediction, by the way. So, but all this just, Falcon fan, hopeful thinking, and we just have to see. The Falcons do have an open roster spot because of the issue with Barcavius Mingo. So it will be interesting to see what they're gonna do with that position. They're gonna bring in another edge rusher like Justin Houston, Maverick Ingram, or they're gonna bring in a cornerback like Steven Nelson, Brian Poole. So it will be interesting to see what they decide to do with that last roster spot that they have, or they could bring in another offensive lineman because of Matt Gano's injury, which I think he was going to be in the running for that left guard spot. I think his injury also put Jalen Mayfield more likely being a swing tackle, which means that Josh Andrews could be our left guard. And according to a lot of people, he don't have a lot of good tape at being offensive guard. I think he's more of a backup. So if we're going in as him as our left guard, it could potentially be, a scary situation. But like I said, we don't know. Every year, every team has a chance to go from worst to first. And I think the Falcons definitely had a chance, because I feel that we had a talent, and I feel that a lot of issues was coaching and culture. So with the new regime, new coaching staff, new culture, I think we can turn it around, especially with our strength of schedule that we have this year. So with all that being said, like I said, I just want to say again that I want to thank all the guys that inspired me to actually come on here and give my thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons. Because as you all know, the national media don't give the Falcons any respect. They hardly talk about us. The only time they talk about the Falcons, they want to make a reference to the 28-3, or we're gonna be garbage because we traded away Julio. We should have drafted a quarterback, even though our quarterback is still in his prime. We just get no respect as an Atlanta Falcon organization, but that's a good thing, because we're going to shock the world this year. But I just want to thank all you guys for inspiring me to actually get on here and talk about the Atlanta Falcons. And be honest with you, and when I first started, going on YouTube and seeing you guys, it actually made my day, because it was good to see other people who was as passionate about Atlanta Falcons as I am. So I just want to thank all you guys again for inspiring me to actually come on here. If you like to hear me talk and give my thoughts, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like buttons, and I'll definitely come back over here and talk about the Falcons some more. Hopefully, once the 53 man roster is set, we can actually get a good idea of what our Atlanta Falcons actually going to look like this year. So with that being said, thank you guys for listening to me for the last 20-some minutes, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.